When she walked in there, Rachel, she had on a brown dress, form-fitting, visibly pregnant, head held high, and did not make any eye contact with the defendant, with Sean Combs.
Among other things, the singer is expected to address the 2016 video of Combs attacking her in a hotel when she was his girlfriend. Combs has pleaded not guilty. His attorneys argue the video is evidence of jealousy, not sex trafficking. And now for the first time, jurors are hearing what Cassie has to say about that and other aspects of their 10-year relationship.
$20 million paid overnight. That's what it took for Diddy to silence Cassie Ventura. But the real question is, why the rush to settle a lawsuit within 24 hours when you've been claiming innocence? Today in Manhattan federal court, Cassie finally revealed the massive settlement amount that's been kept secret until now. While Diddy's team scrambles to control the narrative, we're breaking down why that $20 million payment might be the most expensive confession in music industry history. The number sent shockwaves through the Manhattan federal courtroom when it was finally revealed today. Not just the amount, but the speed of the payment has everyone asking the same question. Why would an innocent man rush to pay that kind of money overnight? When Cassie filed her lawsuit in November 2003 under New York's Adult Survivors Act, Diddy's legal team went into immediate damage control. We're not talking about a normal negotiation here. Court documents show Diddy personally authorized the massive payment while publicly maintaining his innocence. 20 million reasons that suggest the truth might be very different from what he's been claiming. The lawsuit contained allegations so severe, so damaging, that his team couldn't risk letting them play out in public. During her emotional testimony today, Cassie explained exactly what she wanted from the settlement. Compensation for the time, the pain, the many, many years of trying to fix my life. She revealed that before the lawsuit, she had even attempted to sell Diddy a tell-all memoir, a book that would have exposed everything she's now testifying about in court. What's particularly interesting is how the settlement was structured. The agreement came with strict confidentiality clauses that were supposed to bury these allegations forever. Diddy thought a signature on a document and a wire transfer would make it all disappear, but money can't always buy silence forever. Federal prosecutor Emily Johnson knew exactly what she was doing when she questioned Cassie about the previously undisclosed amount during direct examination. The strategy was clear. Establish the pattern of using money to make problems go away. $20 million isn't just a settlement, it's practically an admission written in dollar signs. The incredible speed of the payment speaks volumes. Most high-profile settlements take weeks or months of back-and-forth negotiations, but Diddy authorized this massive payout within hours. Legal experts watching the case suggest he was terrified of what might come out if the case proceeded to the discovery phase, when both sides would be forced to share evidence, messages, and potentially damaging recordings. Today's testimony revealed something even more telling. This wasn't Cassie's first attempt to get compensation. Before filing the formal lawsuit, she had tried other avenues to get Diddy to take responsibility for what she alleges happened during their relationship. The lawsuit was her last resort after those attempts failed. That timeline contradicts the narrative from Diddy's defenders who've painted this as a money grab. The $20 million settlement wasn't just compensation, it was desperate damage control that spectacularly backfired. Diddy may have thought the payment would end his troubles, but it actually did the opposite. Federal investigators picked up exactly where the lawsuit left off, using the settlement as a starting point for their criminal investigation. The payment that was meant to bury everything forever instead became the first domino in a chain that led straight to his arrest. What's especially damning is how quickly he agreed to pay. There was no extended negotiation, no attempt to reduce the amount. Just a fast transfer of $20 million to make it all go away. The question now hanging over the courtroom is obvious. Why pay so much so fast if there was nothing to hide? Court observers noted how uncomfortable Diddy looked during this portion of the testimony. As the details of the settlement were exposed, his usual confident demeanor visibly cracked. His legal team repeatedly objected to this line of questioning, but Judge Allison Martinez overruled them, allowing the jury to hear the full details of how quickly Diddy tried to silence Cassie with his millions. The payment was authorized within hours, Cassie testified, her voice steady as she described how Diddy's lawyers contacted her team with the offer almost immediately after the lawsuit was filed. They didn't even try to negotiate the amount down. They just wanted it done before anyone could see the full complaint. The settlement may have temporarily kept some details quiet, but it couldn't stop what was coming. Federal agents were already assembling their case, collecting evidence from multiple alleged victims who described similar patterns of abuse and control. The $20 million bought Diddy less than a year of freedom before federal charges brought everything crashing down. What could possibly be worth $20 million to keep quiet? Today's testimony finally exposed the disturbing reality behind Diddy's overnight payment. The secrets Cassie Ventura brought to the courtroom painted a picture so dark that even hardened reporters looked shocked. Cassie detailed 6 separate incidents of severe physical abuse that left her with bruising and injuries. The courtroom fell silent as she recounted each violent episode with a steady voice that only occasionally cracked with emotion. The judge had to call for breaks twice, as Cassie described injuries that kept her hidden from public view for days at a time. One of the most shocking moments came when she described a 2009 incident that started with a simple conversation. Diddy, she testified, became enraged after seeing her talking to a record producer at an industry event. What happened next left everyone in the courtroom stunned. According to Cassie, Diddy's eyes went black before he punched and kicked her in the backseat of his car during a 10-minute ride. She wasn't allowed to leave his sight for a week afterward, forced to stay at a hotel until her bruises faded enough for makeup to cover them. But the most damning evidence came from outside the courtroom, surveillance footage from 2016 that CNN made public this May. The video shows Diddy, wearing only a towel, dragging Cassie from an elevator, throwing her to the floor, kicking her, and pulling her down a hallway. The footage was played in court, causing several jurors to visibly react. One older woman on the jury covered her mouth in shock. The violence wasn't the only thing Diddy tried to hide. An LAPD officer took the stand and testified that after responding to the hotel incident, Diddy offered him a stack of money to keep quiet about what he saw. This revelation drew gasps from the gallery, proof that buying silence was Diddy's go-to solution long before the $20 million settlement. Perhaps the most disturbing testimony came from male escort Daniel Phillip, who confirmed he was paid by Diddy to have sex with Cassie while the music mogul directed the entire scenario. These sessions sometimes lasted up to 10 hours, with Phillip recalling Diddy's specific instructions. "Y'all need to rub more baby oil on each other. You don't have enough on." Phillip also described witnessing Diddy throw a bottle at Cassie and drag her by her hair during one violent outburst. The court heard about what Cassie called freak-offs, elaborate, drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts that Diddy allegedly filmed. These weren't just one-time events, but an ongoing nightmare that began when she was just 22 years old. The freak-offs became a job, Cassie testified. There was no time to do anything else but do them, then try to recover. The prosecution suggested these recordings served a dual purpose, both for Diddy's personal gratification and as blackmail material to ensure Cassie's continued compliance. Multiple witnesses described how Diddy would become violent over minor disagreements. Cassie testified that he would instruct her to fix her face or watch her mouth whenever she expressed an opinion he didn't like. These threats would often escalate to physical violence if she didn't immediately comply. As the testimony continued throughout the day, the $20 million settlement started to make perfect sense. Diddy wasn't just paying to make abuse allegations go away, he was desperately trying to hide a systematic pattern of control, exploitation, and blackmail that had lasted for years. The settlement wasn't just about silencing one woman, it was about keeping an entire criminal enterprise from being exposed. Diddy's legal team continuously objected throughout the testimony, arguing that the sexual encounters were consensual and that Cassie participated willingly in the lifestyle. They painted her as an opportunist who only came forward when there was money to be made. But the physical evidence, third-party witnesses, and surveillance footage tell a different story. One of a powerful man who used his money and influence to trap a young woman in a cycle of abuse. The $20 million secret Diddy tried to bury is now fully exposed. In just 24 hours, he signed away millions to keep Cassie quiet, but that money couldn't stop federal investigators from digging deeper and building their case. The man who once ruled the music industry now sits in a courtroom watching his empire crumble. If convicted on the top charges of racketeering and sex trafficking, Diddy faces life behind bars. No private jets, no mansion parties, just prison walls. As more witnesses step forward with their stories, one thing becomes clear: not even Diddy's billions can silence the truth forever.